So, how long, when, and who? What's going on with the Chelsea manager situation?
You ain't so tough with that bad boy tuck. I'ma get it how I'm living, I'ma walk the walk. Outline my lines, I rap through thought.
Namaste, mes amis. Welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host, Jan. I hope you're doing well. Really do hope that. Rocking the SNG merch today. And I must say, it's giving daddy. You'd have to say. Anyway, welcome back to the channel. And welcome back to Chelsea News. Today we're discussing this really funny situation with Infinite Athletes, very like Chelsea personified. A little bit of movement involving Omari Hutchinson potentially. Chelsea are looking at. I mean, the transfers are among us. We'll talk about that a little bit. And apparently, we're to know who the Chelsea manager is in a matter of hours now. Chance will be a fine thing. Apparently it will become clear. Anyway, strap yourselves in, drink plenty of water, subscribe to this channel. If you choose to subscribe, hit the bell. Thank you for liking the video. Support the content. Why wouldn't you want to do that? Let's get into it. Off the bat then, Omari Hutchinson's wanted by Stuttgart. If Sebastian Hoeneß stays, he's a great manager, finished second in the Bundesliga, gonna play Champions League football next season, right? So from championship football to Champions League football, I reckon that could be pretty darn good for young Omari Hutchinson. I know he wants to stay at Ipswich Town and play in the Premier League with Ipswich, but it does look like Kieran McKenna is almost certainly going to leave, which would probably change his mind a little bit, I would speculate. We'll talk about the managers in a moment. I wonder if there's a better chance Kieran McKenna is going to go to Manchester United over Chelsea should that opportunity arise. The Chelsea fan base is massively split over managerial, availabilities or potential coaches or whatever. So it's all over the gaff. But yes, Sky Germany are reporting that the 20-year-old Chelsea winger, Omari Hutchinson, they want him on loan. I actually think that would be quite an exciting, good loan. There's going to be so much ins and outs at Chelsea, and it's going to get tougher before it gets better, I think. There's probably going to be players leaving that you don't want to leave. It's going to be tough. I reckon there will be heartache. There will also be a lowering of aperture on this camera. So yes, Omari Hutchinson, maybe to Stuttgart. Let's keep her going. Alright, so many of you might have seen this on X, the social media platform X. I can't call it that with a straight face. Twitter, right? Infinite Athletes official page tweeted this and then rapidly deleted it. And this is Chelsea's, standings or situation personified. They tweeted, "From the hallowed ground of Stamford Bridge to the chests of those in Chelsea blue, it's been an honour to partner with one of the Premier League's most storied clubs. We wish Chelsea Football Club all the best next season as they return to Europe and look to challenge for the title." They deleted that. And then they retweeted immediately after. "From the hallowed ground of Stamford Bridge to the classic Chelsea blue kits, it is a continuing honour to partner with one of the Premier League's most storied club. We look forward to maintaining our strong relationship next season." So essentially a tweet saying like it's been an honour, we'll wish you all the best. See you later. To, oh yeah, it's been great and I can't wait to keep it going. Absolute shambles. You could, well, technically they're not Chelsea Infinite Athlete. I'm not going to get into that conspiracy. But you know what I mean? They're not Chelsea. So, but I just, from what I have experienced of late, I just feel like that mistake is somehow related to a Chelsea cock-up somewhere. Do you know what I mean? I just feel like they told him, oh, we're going, yes, we're continuing next season. Oh, no, we're not continuing next season. Actually, yes, we are. I know, I don't want to be too out of order to our club, but it just, so much stuff goes wrong at the moment that you would not be surprised should that be the case. Now, what does this mean, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen? Well, I don't know. Apparently they could still remain the front of shirt sponsor, Infinite Athlete. There was always a plan that they were going to move to like a sleeve sponsor or some other sponsor within the club. I don't know, like a training kit. I think we're still with Trivago, so maybe a sleeve training kit or another something. Just remaining somewhere within the football club, but maybe not necessarily the front of shirt. So there could be a sleeve sponsor. They could not. But actually, it's been reported, and no one really knows for sure, that they might stay the front of shirt sponsor. Now, I ain't got no problem with it. I actually think it looks pretty cool. You know, there's a lot of sponsors out there that look really, really bad, like certain beers or betting companies, which I really don't agree with at all. You know, cryptocurrency I think is pretty lame. So, like, to have, you know, this, like, sporting AI technology, I think it's kind of cool. You know, analysis tech for football or sport in general. I think that's cool. I actually think it looks kind of cool as well. I'd be interested to just see the logo of the emblem, like the motif, rather than Infinite Athlete. But I think we could do a lot worse in terms of look, optics, aesthetic. So I'm happy for them to stay. But ultimately, I want what's best for the club. If they find an alternative sponsor that brings much more peas, you know, I'm down. We'll see what happens there. I'll be very, very interested to obviously follow this story. I will be covering this story. Keep it locked to this channel, and I will update you on what the ruddy heck is going on with the sponsor. So, ladies and gentlemen, we now have a football manager of our club, which is pretty funny. Pochettino's having his best life, hanging out with Salt Bay, posting on his social media. I just think, right, for so long, this split was on the cards. Then the more I'm not going to do Pochettino anymore. Sorry, I had a technical error there. I had to stop the recording and restart it. I'm not going to go over Pochettino anymore. It's done. Whatever. He looks happy. Chelsea are clearly, you know, wanting to implement a new coach that will work with Bernardo Cueva. Is it Bernardo Cueva? Cueva, the Brentford set piece coach, the sporting directors, the head of recruitment, Sam Joel. All them, man. They want a big, happy, functioning family. But this isn't Chelsea going radical here. This seems like what people want to do. Ineos is trying to do it at Man United. Michael Edwards has been brought back in to Liverpool for the post-Klopp era. Well, of course, Klopp was the overarching big manager guy, but they'll be looking to emulate a similar model. I get it, it's the way the wind's blowing, right? But who's going to be the friggin' manager? Now, reporter, football writer for London World, Rahman Osman, who I believe does a lot of stuff. He goes to the Chelsea presses and stuff. Reputable writer has said, or has been quoted by a Chelsea aggregator, it will become clear in the next 48 hours who's going to be Chelsea's head coach. Now, this was... When was this? This was 13 hours ago. So 48 minus 13 is 35 hours. So in the next 35 hours, we'll know who the Chelsea manager is going to be. He actually said as well, the chance of Mourinho becoming Chelsea manager is no chance. Of course, we reacted to that story from the Evening Standard yesterday morning that the betting company, Bet365, he was spiked to favourite, which is very peculiar. I still wonder how that happened. Very, very interesting. But yes, ruled out. So it kind of leaves us. I mean, I have no idea, bro, who's going to be Chelsea manager. Should we go through it? Right, let's go through it then. It seemed like the genuine favourite was Kieran McKenna, manager of Ipswich Town. Sexy high-profile stuff, this. But look, he had done absolutely incredible work. A double back-to-back promotion with that side. One manager of the year for all the English football. And is 38 and has Premier League experience on a Premier League bench. It's not like and again, I'll reiterate, these inexperienced coaches are trending. I don't know, look, obviously, Vincent Kompany to Bayern Munich is still blowing my mind. I just can't find a way of getting relegated with 24 points to getting the Bayern job. I don't understand that path, but fair enough, whatever. But, you know, Xavi Hernandez, Pep Guardiola, from, you know, nowhere to suddenly managing Barcelona and winning the league. And of course, we knew what happened with Pep Guardiola. Arteta, you know, Xabi Alonso, an invincible league. These guys hadn't worked. They were doing like, you know, he was doing like the Real Sociedad B, like the kids, isn't it the kids in La Liga, Xabi Alonso, and suddenly he's just done this. So there is this idea of you don't need to be this like Galactico experienced manager to work within a good structure. They just need to have command respect and have good ideas and be willing to work with the club to move through mistakes and not have this sort of messiah complex. So if that is truly the winning remedy, then we are moving away from the old model in football, the old successful model, your Wengers, your Mourinho's, your Fergusons, and your Klopps. And I know, like, at Man City, they've got a really good functioning system and infrastructure, but Pep definitely is still one of those, like, OG managers in many ways. But, so you can still be a big character. But, anyway, I digress. So let's go back to talking about it. Kieran McKenna, this young coach, he looked to be the favourite. Everyone was reporting on him as the slight favourite over Enzo Maresca. And now, because of this news that leaked out that Ten Hag's probably going to be sacked after the FA Cup final today, that if he gets the opportunity to rejoin Man United, because of course he was a coach on the bench, he's gone away, he's got back-to-back promotions, coming back at a good time, and he knows the training ground, he knows the club. I kind of understand the desire to return. He'll probably get paid much more money than he would at Chelsea. Fine. So if Kieran McKenna is going to go there, by the way, this is not me by any means saying I really want him. I have no idea who I want. I've been trying to think about this. Like, I've got nothing. I've got like no reason to like believe one over the other. I genuinely have to give myself up and trust the club and the sporting directors, which is hard thing to do right now, man, for a multitude of reasons. But if you guys watch the channel and you know me, you'll know that generally I'm a subscriber to infrastructure, and I have been long before Roman Abramovich was forced to sell Chelsea. I wanted sporting directors, technical directors. I wanted an appropriate, a modernised team at Chelsea, because I saw where Chelsea were trending, and I saw, like I said, where the wind was blowing in football, modern football generally. Again, I'm not saying definitively that's the only correct way. I'm just saying that's how I feel, and that's my opinion, right? It's a game of opinions, dude. So, my mind's just gone blank. Kieran McKenna. I'm just like exasperated. So I'm not necessarily saying I wanted him, but I'm saying he's a high-profile target for a bunch of clubs, and I think if he can go to Man United, we'll try and go there. So where does that leave us? Well, Chelsea fans, if you look at the social media polls and like the most desired, it's probably Ruben Amorim, which of course was speculated to be still in the running as this sort of secret high-profile candidate. And comparatively to the others, he is high-profile. He's more high-profile than McKenna, Maresca, and Thomas Frank, certainly. He is the high-profile one because he's won league titles and he's coached in the Champions League. Therefore, he's high-profile. Yeah, he's 11 years younger than Thomas Frank. Whether he will... Chelsea have got an appreciation for Amorim. I've been concerned about him ever since I've seen like tactical analysis saying he wouldn't suit Chelsea. But suddenly, when you look at alternatives, you think, maybe it would be good, actually. I don't know. But he's got a cup final this weekend, I believe. So maybe after the cup final, he'll fly to London and be like, "Wait, let me join Chelsea." Which leaves Thomas Frank. I don't think, look, no disrespect to Thomas Frank, but he is 50 years old. He has overachieved at Brentford, and he does, in theory, character-wise, he seems like a good guy, and he would work within the infrastructure. It's basically what Brentford are doing, Chelsea want to do at a grander scale. So he'd fit in like that, but it's heavily reactionary, transitional, counter-attacking football. I understand that he has to do that, and he's employed a tactic that he has to do. But for me, pretty underwhelming. Of course, the other sort of relatively senior, slightly younger Premier League manager of a similar level is Roberto De Zerbi. Now, I'm not interested in Roberto De Zerbi. I know he's coached Mudryk, Caicedo, and Levi Colwill. And, when he had Caicedo and McAllister in his midfield, they finished top 6. I've been mindful to be very, very balanced when I discuss Roberto De Zerbi. But, he slapped him up 4 times, 4 wins in 4 meetings as Chelsea manager. Granted, once was pre-season, but still. And, which isn't a good look early doors. I just don't want the Brighton manager. That path, man, I'm just done with it. Maybe I'm being unfair opinion because of how it is, but I just have no interest in it as well. And he is a combustible character. It's widely reported that he's a combustible character, and they're not looking for that. I know you might think this is Chelsea heritage, combustible managers like Conte and Mourinho and stuff, but Of course, I'll have to back whichever manager is appointed. I'm not like one of these kids on social media that have an agenda as soon as, if they don't like him early doors. I will always support the manager and the team as a football fan of my team. But right now, in this position where I'm analysing it, I'm not interested in Roberto De Zerbi. So it kind of leaves, unless it's an unexpected candidate, Enzo Maresca, who's, you know, Kieran McKenna got back-to-back promotions. Enzo Maresca actually won the championship last season. He's still young-ish. I think he's early mid-40s, so he's not like 50 or above, like, you know, Thomas Frank or Pochettino or, you know, Tuchel must be over 50, surely. Is he? Must be. Anyway, point being, he's still young-ish, Enzo Maresca. There's Matt Laws, who said at length on his articles and the Londoners Blue podcast, Maresca plays possession-style football, which the early reports were suggesting Chelsea want that so they can defend better. The fans actually got quite angry with it. Of course, they won the Premier League with counter-attacking football. Of course, they won the Championship with possession football with Maresca, but they found it quite boring, quite ponderous, and it made me think of like the stale possession days of Maurizio Sarri. I remember going to a lot of games and getting quite bored. Maybe it will be better for... it might be, you know, I joked the other day saying it might be good to have a bit of boring football than high blood pressure football with Pochettino's, you know, risk ball. So maybe that. But he apparently would be very interested in joining Chelsea. Of course, he's worked with Cole Palmer, Romeo Lavia before in the PL2. He has worked with Pep Guardiola at Man City. He's like a Guardiola disciple like Mikel Arteta. And therefore... maybe he's a great coach. He's like, you know, 8 years younger than Pep, I think. So I'm not saying he will become Guardiola, but he could be the guy to put Chelsea in the right direction for the brand of football and working within this unit. I'm not particularly like, bring me Maresca, but then again, like the only coach that I would, if I could, you know, have like a genie offer me a wish, I'd say Guardiola. And then he says, all right, who next? I mean, after Xabi Alonso, and then after that, I don't know, bro. Like, I don't know. You know, I don't want an ex-Chelsea coach to return. I don't think that's value. I know a lot of Chelsea fans want that romantic hark back to better times. For me, it's not going to work, so I've removed that from my mind. So I've got to like give, because these guys aren't high profile in the face of the media all the time, you've got to sort of defer to the inverted commas experts that analyze these people for a living and think this will work best. I know we haven't got much reasons to trust these experts, but ultimately you have to eventually, you know, let them do their job and hope for the best. So anyway, let me know what you think. Comment down below. Of course, keep it locked to this channel throughout this summer transfer window and beyond, because I'll be covering Chelsea closely and giving you the latest updates as soon as possible. If you subscribe, hit the bell, and I hope to see you back here soon, mate. Peace.